You're over. Get out of your system. So real quick, so I'm from West Virginia, which is a population of approximately that of Manhattan, and it has the highest fatal overdose rate in the country. So for a state, it's a terrifying thing. So when I was home, people I thought were alive were no longer alive. A friend's brother of mine was on the TV robbing a grocery store because he was so hard up. It's out of control. It's just taking people out left and right. It's very sad, it's very devastating, but I became obsessed with it. I'm fascinated by it for many reasons. So when I started doing research, a very successful and brilliant literary critic named Michael Clune wrote a beautiful memoir about being a heroin addict in Baltimore, which is really the place to do it if you're going to be a heroin addict. And while he was doing his PhD, and it's called Whiteout, and I recommend it highly, but he talks about addiction as a memory disease, and that heroin is or opiates in general are so intense because people think you're nostalgic for the first hit. He says, no, the point is that the first hit never goes away. It stays with you at all times and begins to seep into the future and the past. It bleaches everything out. So he talks about seeing his mother smiling at him as a kid, but all he actually sees are white vials of heroin. It just bleeds everything out. I found that totally terrifying because Appalachia is a place where people are constantly trapped in the past and wanting to forget where they are anyways, so this was like the golden ticket. He calls it, a brilliant phrase is a memory disruption agent. So you'll hear two different things. So part of it is interviews, where a person is asking, what would happen if this epidemic really did just blow out a world? And people were someone got in there and asked, tried to find out what happened, what was it like? What's left over? The other thing is you'll hear a place reference called Oceana, which is a town in southern West Virginia called Oceana, but is so ravaged by drug addiction they call it Oxiana now. So sometimes you'll hear Oxiana, and I use that as sort of a large phrase now for the opiate-riddled world that I'm concerned with. And I also have to use two voices, so it might be a little strange, but just bear with me. I'll try to do it right. So this is the first one. This is the proem from the book. It's called Beast du by Mir. What governs you? Axes in the woods, their chime, or any skull placed to my ear, and I can hear the sea and lakes and rivers even crying about what they're going to do to us. Don't want, but must. I understand. I have many difficulties. So I was told when young and good, and woke to German voices singing, "Be thou with me among the hungry waves." Over the dock I'd hang my neck and let them lick my hair, and tried to learn to fear again. Just who do you think you are? I'm the taker of weather. I eat its song. Wrong. You're a room, and you can't keep hiding in there forever. So, this one's called Icarus in Oceana. Talk to yourself. Console. Invoke an image of progress. Fail. Two V's of geese colliding. An X exploding. Pretend not to worry about your father, or that he no longer worries for you. Something about angels, levitation, waking up with a belt around your arm, some blood. Tell yourself to listen. Something about your mother, how she's the good part of you, the still good part. A memory of childhood equated to a bomb. It worries you. Which worries you? Think again about the geese. You have migrated through today through sleep. Someone on the porch who's lost both his arms, chain smokes. Something about angels or geese or wings. He warns you about flying too high, then helps. something about chances, not knowing it was your second until your third never shows. Summer air, people blowing up things and celebrating. Something about pain as a private choir moving through you. A movement, a movement. A movement helps you up to the porch, to the armless fool of smoke. Where do you want to go? Nowhere? We have just enough to get there. And then some. And then something. The geese piercing the sky. They rise. And then they rise. This one is called For Good This Time. What can you remember of withdrawal? What brutal ways we can learn to want and need. The march of hours halt, a mote of sweat, a shaking gait, hubbub wild in your veins. Then rise two suns. The sun, and then the sun made of dope. Low and kind. Would you like to climb inside my mouth? No. Yes. With all of me from hair to toes. But no more of that. Under the two suns, your shadow roams elsewhere. Without it, you don't even know where you stand, or if you even are. But there is a darker purpose. You have betrayed an ecstasy, have pulled lightning like silver thread from a cloud. How do you think the cloud feels now? Dead? Worse. Like a myth. Turns out you can heave your heart into your mouth, and away it limps, its old honey leaking from your arm and neck and toe holes. What's left of you that will not rot. Lap it up. Is that the end? Listen. The planet spins against the iceberg of time. It cracks the day in two. A silence so entire you'd think all the crickets hang themselves. And at last, that last bit of want in you, like a coyote who, when from far above a grand piano, like a mercy crashes down upon its head, swirls asleep, is gone. It's all by Senegal, guys. So it's called Voices as of Line.